We live. What's good, everybody? Episode 46, Section 300. Appreciate all y'all for tuning in. This is a podcast where real fans talk real life, talk about sports and music, and bring all the great dialogue to those topics. And we're here with another great show. It's your host, Garrett G. Thomas 7 here, along with my boy, Alec. What's good, yo, bro? How you feeling?
Pretty good. Yeah.
Good.
Nice long weekend.
Definitely a good weekend. A lot of good stuff that went on this weekend. A lot of good stuff to talk about. So we're going to get to that in a second. But first off, again, welcome to all our viewers. Appreciate all y'all that have been tuning in. We're listening to our podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or here on YouTube. For those here, subscribe to our page, rate our page, rate, comment, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff for us. We appreciate it. Reach out to us on IG at Section.300. Reach out to us on Twitter at Section.300pod. We appreciate all the fans that are nationwide that are reaching out to us in any way. So thank y'all for tuning in. That's where you find us. And now let's get to the shits. So first things first.
What you rubbing your head? Oh, so you was out there? Wait, you was in the crowd? You was in the crowd at FLOG GNAW?
I wasn't there, but my boy Charles was there. He was in the crowd. He said that they weren't feeling Drake yesterday. Camp FLOG GNAW went down over this weekend, and Drake was a surprise guest, and people weren't too happy about that. So It's been the talk of the town on everywhere you look online, and definitely got to talk about that. So what are your takes on the fans booing Drake at the show?
I mean, from looking at it, like videos of people who were there, it seemed like there was a good amount of people in the front who like really weren't feeling him. There was people like who were rocking with it, like who were excited because I mean he's one of the bigger artists, and it was a surprise guest, final guest of the night. So some people were feeling it, but there was a large population, it seemed like, in the front that was like, nah, get his bum ass out of here. And it was kind of weird because it was like a sense of entitlement that the fans had that Frank was supposed to be there. And like no one said Frank's gonna be there. Like they just assumed that he was gonna be there. And so when it wasn't Frank, I feel like a lot of artists probably would have gotten booed in that situation just because they weren't Frank.
The others, Drake was not the only surprise. It was like
he was the final one. So like clearly, if he's the final one, Frank's not coming after.
Right.
So like at that point earlier on, they're like, okay, maybe Frank will be the last one.
Right.
Then it's Drake, and they're like, hold on.
Got you. I get you. My thing is, I wouldn't necessarily call it time. I've seen a lot of people that are shitting on the fans right now, and to be honest, I don't really think it's entitled. Based on what we've been talking about Frank the last couple of weeks, he's been doing a whole bunch of shows. He's been debuting songs and things.
Right.
Camp FLOG GNAW seemed like the perfect place for Frank to make his next stop. With the rollout he's been on, it would make perfect sense for him to be the surprise guest. He's been out now. He hasn't been active like this really ever before, and he's finally out now. And people think this is the perfect spot for him to make his next appearance. So when they have that surprise guest, it makes more than enough sense for it to be Frank Ocean in that spot. So I totally get why people would be expecting Frank to be there. Also, they did nothing to say that's not Frank. If Tyler or anybody jumped ahead of it and saw all these tweets and things going on and said beforehand, just so y'all know, there are surprise guests, but it's not Frank. That way, at least they know, okay, it's not Frank, but we're getting somebody big. So at least they can prepare to not see Frank on stage. So there was no warning ahead of time, and it just continued to build up, and momentum built up, and people just truly believed that Frank was going to be there. And then when Drake shows up, Drake's fans and Tyler's fans, I wouldn't necessarily think are the same thing.
Yeah, there's probably like a small amount of crossover.
There's a small crossover, but not really. Also, something I wanted to pull up was, I have it saved somewhere, I think.
You see Tyler's like Twitter rant too, like after.
I saw that. But something else I wanted to bring up too was his was Drake's set list, because Drake surprises you. You get Drake at the end, right? He surprises you, and you're like, okay, I wanted Frank, but Drake's on stage. That's fine. Right. Drake's the hit maker. You really get some great songs.
Right.
He comes out and performs both with Gucci.
Yeah, I heard that. He came out to like started from
the bottom. I'm saying he didn't go through all the biggest hits. He went through and he had like I'm Upset in his set. Like if you're someone who's been sitting there all day long, wherever you're ready for Frank. You're in that emotional ready to pour your heart out type shit for Frank. And then Drake comes on the stage. I'm upset, nigga. I'd be booing too. Listen, if I'm trying to get my
I was gonna ask, would you be booing too? I find it hard to believe that you be booing Drake out there, but listen.
I don't think I would be booing, but I'd be disappointed.
Yeah, that's understandable. If you had an expectation.
Like I said, there was nothing to tell you otherwise that it was not going to be Frank. Like everything leading up to that point, until Drake got on stage, it seemed like Frank was going to be that guy. And then Drake showed up, and it's like, okay, cool, that's Drake. But if you're a Tyler fan, like we said, there's not a whole lot of crossover. You're like, cool, Drake, but we don't care. So we want us to do with that. So though Tyler was in his little celebrity section dancing, there are other people.
Tyler Phil, and he was dancing to Feel No Ways in the crowd or whatever.
And while there were others that were definitely enjoying it, because obviously it is Drake, that large portion of fans that were sitting there all day waiting for Frank, now watching Drake dance around, I understand the boos, to be honest. I see what you guys are saying about why you shouldn't boo him because it is Drake, but understanding who's there, the context is definitely important. So I get the frustrated fans as well.
But like also too, just the element of like Tyler like probably going out of his way to get Drake there. Like it's probably not an easy thing. Drake's not usually like at a lot of festivals performing and everything. So like it probably took some effort for him to be able to get Drake to perform there. Sure. And then they just boo about the build. And like Drake also kind of took it in stride too. Like he didn't like go off on them or anything. Like he was like, it's been love or whatever. I'm out. But
sure, I get that. But is the show for Tyler or for the fans?
It's for the fans, clearly, but
so though we saw Tyler dancing and things, if the fans
Tyler clearly thought that fans would be more into it than they were. Like,
but that goes to my then goes to my point about a possible disconnect and not getting ahead of what was coming, because there was talk everywhere online that the guest was going to be Frank Ocean. If you saw anything Camp FLOG GNAW related, it was, I really hope Frank is there. I think Frank is a surprise guest. The prices went up last minute because they thought Frank was going to be there. There were all kinds of rumors about Frank being the surprise guest. So for Tyler not getting ahead of that, like, yo, it's not him. Like, there's got to be some kind of warning. So you got to see what your fans are talking about and know that what their expectations are, because there was a large, as we saw. There was a large expectation that Frank was going to be there. And while Drake is Drake, he is not what those fans wanted. And that's why you got the result that you got. So, yeah.
But it is a surprise guest. Like, the whole point of it being a surprise guest is you're not saying who it is. So, fans, you can speculate however much you want, but, like, you're not going to change who's going to be there. They're not going to be like, oh, they want Frank to be there, so we're going to get Frank. So,
it's not, no, I'm saying you don't have to get Frank. But I'm saying if Frank is not there and your entire fan base is thinking Frank is going to be there, you got to just at least eliminate his name. You can say there's still one of the biggest artists on earth that's still going to be there. You can still tease it and hype it up, but you have to eliminate that one name so your fans aren't booing the other guy that shows up. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, sure. I hear that.
Damn near everybody was saying Frank.
But I feel like
because it was Frank.
I feel like you also kind of expect your fans not to boo one of the biggest artists like of our generation too. I don't know, like
that again. We're going in circles now because that again goes to what I'm saying, like disconnect. Tyler has to know that his fans and Drake fans don't have a whole lot of crossover.
Yeah.
Someone, I think it was LeJethro Jenkins, who I've mentioned before on the show, who works for Yahoo and things. I think he pointed out. I think it was him. Pointing out how a lot of Tyler fans are what you would call like anti-establishment, and how they're kind of against the grain of what the commercial music is and all that type of stuff. And they're more for all the experimental stuff that Tyler is doing with his type of music. And Drake is viewed as the perfect example of the establishment. Like he is all the pop music and shit these days. So it's like bringing the complete opposite of what you want on stage. And while Tyler may be a fan of Drake, and as we saw, the fans aren't. So we got what we got. So yeah, there's got to be more. There's got to be better understanding of the fan base, or just getting ahead of the online chatter. Tyler going online and doing that whole rant about saying this disconnect and calling the fans and saying this is like cancel culture in live action, things like that. Him going online for that rant shows that he's online and sees some of the disappointment. So I think that he has to go online, or someone, whoever else is handling his social media and things. There's got to be some way for that golf, whoever his group is called now, to go online and see what the expectation is and to get ahead of that, so we don't have something like what we got Sunday night. So I get both sides, but to be honest, while many people are hating on the fans, I'm kind of on their side. So Drake, like you mentioned, went out and got ahead of it and made fun of it, which is great. Y'all are all on Drake's side now, and that's great to see. Well, yeah, we'll see where he goes music-wise and see if he has bars for that in the future. As for me, honestly, I don't care.
The jokes are funny to me.
Yeah, definitely.
Jokes are always funny on Twitter, but
right. So yeah, we'll see if we get a Drake and Tyler track after this to mend the fences.
I don't really see that happening. I mean, they clearly appreciate each other's music, but I don't really see like how that collab would work.
Yeah, no, I'm cool. So I don't know, bro, but we shall see. So that was definitely one of the big things of this weekend. Definitely talk of social media up to right now. Honestly, you go online, people still making fun of it. So a lot of that's going on. And while we're talking music, we might as well get to my 5 for You Friday list that I drop every Friday on our IG at Section.300. I drop lists every week, pointing out the music that I think you should check out. Something I'm gonna point out now, as you've noticed. There are times where every week you see now when I mention these albums, I'm not able to get to every project before the show. So from now on, I'm just gonna just list them all, and we'll talk about the ones that may have got your attention as well. So I'm gonna go through the list now, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. So first off, the King returns. The King of R&B, Jacquees, dropped The King of R&B. Really enjoyed that one, and we'll deep dive that in a second.
He's gonna speak it into existence like LeVar, I see.
Not speaking into existence, he's just calling himself what he is. Don't hate on the King now. Don't hate on the King. Don't get me started. We're gonna come back to it. Let me get through the rest of this list. Also, alongside that, we had Dave East drop Survival. We have Joe Moses dropped a project called West Side. Another dude by the name of Jay Stone, another LA-based dude. Dropped a project called Definition of Loyalty with a dope Nipsey tribute that I listened to. Really good on there. Doja Cat dropped a project called Hot Pink that I saw a lot of people raving about. Rod Wave was someone who I saw recently who is somewhat in that not R&B, but in that kind of NBA. I would say the NBA YoungBoy wave, in that he's kind of melodic, but he has the trap kind of sound to him. Like when I heard him, that's the first thing that come to mind. But yeah, he dropped a project called Ghetto Gospel that was solid. Also, we had Emotional Oranges dropped another project called The Juice Volume 2. Yep. And then sticking with the R&B, a girl by the name of Layla Darden dropped a project called Onto Something. And then Reese LaFleur dropped a project called Final Fantasy. And then for our 5 classic of the week, we got, can we see it? It's actually this project right back here. Jay-Z In My Lifetime Volume 1, which dropped, I forgot, it was like 20, 30 years from today, something like that. But 20, I think it's 20. My bad, whatever. But anyways, yeah, that dropped a couple decades ago this week. So that was the 5 classics. So a lot of good music out right now. I've been heavy bumping the King of R&B. That's really been on my rotation. As long as Dave East, we can talk about that for a little bit. Dave East dropped a real good project called Survival. Real good rap on there. He's someone who he's on Def Jam now. So he's another artist doing his 5th debut album. So he called this a debut again, though, for someone like me who's been kind of noticing for a while, me and you. This isn't our debut to him, but definitely I enjoyed some of the stuff that was on here. Really good introspective type stuff. He's someone who, like I mentioned before, when I talked about him and the Godfather 4 track with Nas. Dave is someone who has an underground sound with mainstream appeal. He's someone who raps and he has more of that gritty type shit to his rap, but also has the appearance and is starting to get some of the push into the mainstream. So really enjoy some stuff on this project and definitely check that one out. So those are the two of my list that I've gotten to and I've really enjoyed. All the projects there are good. I'm not saying that any of them are bad. They're on my list for a reason. So check all of them out, formulate your own opinions, and drop comments and let us know what you think about them all. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's our Pop Few Friday list of this week. So a lot of good stuff there. Check it all out and let us know what you think. And yeah, real good, another good week of music. Looking forward to what's to come. People are talking about Isaiah Rashad gearing up for projects. I know he's about to debut his In the Cave freestyle with Kenny Beats this week. Looking forward to that. And I believe that may gear up for the start for his rollout possibly, or at least I hope so. So hope we get some more new Isaiah Rashad. Sticking with TDE, Reason dropped a song called Same Old Shit, I believe it's called. Real good. A solid track from Reason that I really enjoyed. He's been online begging Top and everybody to start pushing his stuff out because he's ready to go. So they granted him his wish, and he started with this song as the first single, I believe, for his next project. So TDE's rolling, and Reason and Isaiah may be on the way. Kendrick might be on the way. We'll be getting to a lot of good stuff in TDE at the end of the year. So looking forward to it all, and yeah, very excited for this last month of music. So definitely check all of that out.
Yeah.
After that, now, I mean, I don't really have anything else musically to talk about. Was there anything else you want to talk about with that?
No, I don't think so.
No, bet. So let's go to football real quick. Y'all see what's going on, man. We rolling. I'm a big Baltimore Ravens fan. If you couldn't tell from the last few weeks, big Ravens fan, and we kept things rolling this week. Blew out the Bengals. It was like 40-something to who cares, but we blew them out. And another great showing for Lamar Jackson. He had, I think he set a record. This was like he's the first quarterback to have 2 perfect passer rating games on the road or something like that. Some crazy stat that ESPN made up, but another great outing from him. He's showing why he should be, like I mentioned before, he should be in the MVP race. Also, like I mentioned as well in the past, that game also showed why Coach Harbaugh needs to be in that Coach of the Year discussion as well. Coach Harbaugh been looking real good. The way he's been putting this team together, him and Greg Roman on the offensive side, the Ravens look real good right now and continue to climb the leaderboard in regards to Super Bowl favorites. So I'm very excited right now. I'm going to be at the Ravens and Rams game Monday night in a couple of weeks. Okay. Looking forward to that. You get some Section.300 news, some live streaming from the Coliseum, maybe. Looking forward to all of that. So definitely excited to see my boys now. I love how we're looking right now. So definitely a lot of good stuff going on in the NFL, and I'm happy that my team is contributing to that. So that's where I want to start.
I will say, we kind of shit on the Patriots for who they've played. A lot of your guys' dubs have been against like sub 500 teams as well too.
Okay,
minus the Patriots. That was a great win.
We also beat the Patriots. We also beat the Seahawks, and yeah, we lost to the Chiefs and we lost to the Browns.
Yeah,
but
a bad one.
Yeah, the Browns was a bad one, and we fought and then lost to Mahomes again with the Chiefs. So
they're trending in the right direction for sure. Right?
Definitely in the right direction
right now. Yeah,
definitely. So I like where we're at right now, and definitely excited for how the rest of the season is going to go. So looking forward to what Lamar Jackson has in store for the rest of this season. There's that great clip that went out about Coach Harbaugh trying to praise him on the sidelines after that crazy 40-yard run that he did, and talking about how this run's going to be a highlight for years to come, and how kids are going to be wearing his jersey. And Lamar's like, I'm just trying to win right now. That's great. Right. And when that time comes, I'll celebrate it. But for right now, I want this Super Bowl. And that reminded me of day one when he got drafted, literally. Right. He said he's going to promise the Ravens a Super Bowl. And he looks like, what is it now? 2 years later, he's going to make that wish come true. So I'm very excited for what this team has in store. Very excited for the rest of this season. Excited, as I mentioned before, but trying to keep my cool at times as well, because I know this season football, nothing is promised. So take it week by week, but definitely love where we're at right now. So loving it and keep my eyes on it all. So
I saw someone pose a question. I was wondering what you thought, because it was kind of tough for me. I didn't have an answer right away, but it was like, would you rather start a franchise right now with Patrick Mahomes or with Lamar Jackson?
The only reason I would say Lamar Jackson right now is because he hasn't gotten hurt yet. We've now seen Patrick Mahomes go down with this injury and knee injury and things, though he just bounced back and had a 400-yard performance and things, even in the loss to Tennessee. He looked good. The injuries like that, can be reoccurring, as we saw with someone like now Baltimore Raven RG3 injuries. While his were tears in his knees and things like that, the injuries in general can mess you up for the long run. So for someone like Patrick Mahomes, Andrew's going to do a good job now to protect him. He's going to make sure they're not going to call no more QB sneaks where he can get injured like that.
Yeah.
But even with that, the NFL, one bad play and your knees can be gone. So because he's already had injuries, I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson instead. I like his versatility. I like his wit. I like how smart he is with the ball, both passing and running the ball. He knows how to get down. He doesn't take hits. He knows how to make a spin move when he needs to make a spin move, as we saw. And his throwing is continuing to improve. So I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson right now, and we'll see. I mean, that changes every year. There was talks before about Mariota and Winston as the future of the league, and we see now how that turns out. Mariota can't start, and Jameis is a whole mess. So things can change real quick. But for right now, I'm gonna roll with Lamar Jackson and my boy. So that's a good question. What's your take on that?
I'm kind of in the same boat with you, just because of what just happened to Mahomes. But it's tough because his arm is like crazy talented.
Unreal.
Look, I mean, I feel like you couldn't go wrong with either one. They're both like generational talents. Lamar has a little bit more athletic ability. It's also interesting on the same token of the injury thing, just like mobile quarterbacks can kind of be more susceptible to breaking down, as we see with like Cam Newton taking all those shots.
We talked about that before.
Yeah.
And going to Cam, he's a little bit different because he's 6'5", something like that. 200 whatever pounds. He's just a truck. And he's someone who, first off, never really shied from contact. He knew his size. And he's had players diving into the end zone or trying to run guys over. So he's embraced the contact. And also with that, I've noticed myself, even my little time playing, as a quarterback, if you initiate any kind of contact, the defense will capitalize on that and try to hit you back anytime they can. Right. They've done that with Cam a whole lot in recent years. Anytime they can get a shot at Cam, they take them out. And they've been messing up his knees, his head, his shoulders, everything. That's why we see what we see now. So because Cam has opened himself up to so much contact, that's why he's in the situation he is right now. But in regards to guys like Lamar Jackson, as we're talking about now, as I turn to my screen and look to guys like, as I turn to the screen and look to guys like Russell Wilson, there are mobile guys that can stay out of the way of hits as well. So also, as you mentioned about injuries, all the guys really we've been seeing go down this year besides Cam have been the mobile ones. We saw Drew Brees go down for a while. We saw Pat go down for a little while. We saw Big Ben out for the season with a non-contact one. He's throwing the ball and just messed up his elbow, wherever that was. So the true passers, we're going to call them, they can get hurt too. So that's just how the game goes, and you just got to hope for the best, regardless of what type of player you are. So, I really don't. I don't think there's a difference. It's just we see it. It seems more major when the winning guys get hurt. So, yeah,
but I think someone was also saying like Lamar might have a shot at the Michael Vick's like rushing record as a QB.
Possibly. I'm not sure what that is off the top of the head. I got to research that, but the way he's running, that makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, he's looking real good right now, running the ball and passing the ball. And, I love what I'm seeing. Also, something that was mentioned before on First Take, Max Kellerman talked about how, like with the Ravens, I'm doing heavy Ravens talk. I'm sorry. We'll get to the rest of the league in a second. But with the Ravens, just schematically, something they were doing was trying to, like, hide their offense from the Patriots and trying to hide their offense and all the options they have. They debuted a new package this week against the Bengals, the Heisman package, with RG3, Lamar, and Mark Ingram, three Heisman winners in the backfield. And that could be real dangerous going forward. There's a lot of options with that. The only thing they did this week is the option. They only did some option plays going either way, pitching it to the RG3 or something like that. They do things where they flip that and have Lamar run the ball. They can pitch it and in the backfield and have RG3 throw it. They can do a whole lot of stuff with that. So in the playoffs, I know there were talks about the Pats might just wait and use this week to gain film. But even with that, it's gonna be hard. Even if you know what's coming, there's so many options with the Ravens offense right now that it'll be hard to stop, even if you see it ahead of time. So I'm very excited for all the possibilities that the Ravens have right now. So definitely exciting for Baltimore. We have the Texans coming up and the Rams. Both should be great games. Deshaun Watson for Houston is another MVP candidate that could jump ahead of Lamar if they have a good outing next week. I believe that game is. So they're gonna got my eyes peeled for that one. So as I turn to that, who you have as the head of your MVP race right now?
Right now, I still have Russ. I haven't really seen how this game is going in the second half. I don't know if you can give us an update, but
quick update. It looks like the Seahawks just scored or are about to score again. It's 14-10 in the third quarter with 2 minutes left. So, yeah, the Seahawks are running it in. Chris Carson just ran a nice run and got stopped on the 1 yard line. But, yeah, it's about to be like 21-10 in a second. So, Seahawks are starting to break away. So, yeah, it could be another great outing for Russ.
Yeah, so I think right now it's still, even with Lamar's stock rising rapidly, I think I'd still take Russ at this point. I think he's got, I forget the number. I think he's leading the league in touchdowns, though, and has like 1 interception to this point. So taking care of the ball, he's making the right throws, he's making the deep throws, he's winning games. And I think he's played the best at the quarterback position, and he's been consistent with it this season as well. I think Lamar is probably right there as like 2A or 2B with McCaffrey, because I think McCaffrey is right there still too. And then you have probably Deshaun right after that, and then probably Mahomes still at 5th, because I mean he still produces when he's out there. So.
The only reason Mahomes is falling out of it is because the team is losing.
Yeah.
So though he's having the 400+ yard games and things, when the team loses, it doesn't look good on him. So that's the only reason why he's dropping. So he's probably not going to repeat. Right. And then going to your point about Russ. Yeah, my thing was it really depending on this week. If Russ balled out today as he appears to be doing, he'd stay ahead at number 1. As I mentioned before, there on the 1 yard line, they just ran it in. Chris Carson just ran the ball in, so it's now 20-10. Seahawks over the Niners. So, again, Seahawks breaking away. And, so because the Seahawks are winning again, wins help alongside Russ's great performance. So, Russ stays at 1, Lamar goes to 2, and then Deshaun is at 3. Christian McCaffrey fell out of it. We talked about him before. He fell out of it because, again, the Panthers were losing as well. And when the losses don't help your case. So, because that they're out of it. But we'll see how that goes over the next few weeks.
He's going to have to carry that team because
literally.
Cam Newton's out for the season now. They put him on the IR, and they're going to be trading him, I believe. So
they're open to it. But how Allen's looked over the last 3 weeks, they've lost 2 out of the last 3. They may now decide, okay, we may have to hold on to Cam for another second. So
the other night, go back on it,
we shall see. But McCaffrey's falling out. He's probably Russ, Lamar, Deshaun, Pat, McCaffrey right there.
After Pat too, dang.
After Pat. Again, it's just because of team performance. They've been losing now. So because the team is falling apart, Pat jumps ahead because he had a 400-yard performance thing. So because of that, we shall see. So Russ stays at 1. And then we have 2 and 3 going against each other next week, as I mentioned, Lamar versus Deshaun. And then with Lamar, again, going to him, his next 4 weeks are Texans, Rams, Niners, Bills. That's a good group right there, squads. If you ball out against those 4, I think you can kind of lock him in. If there's a chance,
the Rams have been kind of underwhelming this season.
The Rams are underwhelming, but they're still, even in that, they have a respectable defense. They have just had Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald's back there. If you can beat them still, and it won't be the defining moment, but in the midst of those 4 games, as I mentioned, that will help his case. If they said him doing that spin move against the Bengals was his MVP moment. So if he can have an MVP moment against the Bengals, he can have an MVP moment against the Rams. Same thing. So these next 4 weeks are going to be major. And the way he's motivated, like I mentioned with those clips and things, I think he's going to get the job done. So very excited for this MVP race. This has been one of the better NFL seasons we've got in recent years, and I love that Lamar and the Ravens are in the midst of that. So definitely got to keep our eyes peeled for the rest of the second half of the season. So that's the main things to talk about. I can't think of any other big things that went on NFL-wise this week. Just a couple more good games. I know the Vikings beat the Cowboys.
Yeah. That's regular.
Yeah.
pretenders.
It's so weird. It's so weird, but they're the truest pretenders of everybody because on paper they have a great roster. Like
Dak
they have a great defense.
Dak still had a very good game, but they still have not been able to get wins. They've had a lot of close losses and bad losses, lost to the Jets. So
something you just can't do. So they're the truest pretenders of them all right now. Saturday, I know there's a lot of Dallas fans out there. My uncle was just in town this last weekend for watching my brother play, and he was wearing all his Cowboys gear. So I know he's feeling the way about this last loss. But America's teams. I don't know how they kept that name, but they continue to be frauds. So we'll see if they can turn it around. They got to get a new coach or something in there because things are not working. It's been decades of this damn near at this point. So things have got to change. So that's what Dallas and across the rest of the league. I can't really think of what else was going on.
You mentioned the Chiefs lost to the Titans. That was a pretty good game. They won it on a blocked field goal attempt at the end. Right. Tannehill's had like 3 game-winning drives in the last 4 games since taking over from Mariota. So looks like Mariota's job is done.
We talked about how quick guys can lose their job, and that same way, that's how quick guys can gain their jobs. You come out and have a couple guys, nice game-winning drives. It don't matter your backup was Heisman winner, whatever, Marcus Mariota. If you're out there and produce yourself, you can take his spot. The resume don't matter. It's about what have you done for me lately. And Tannehill's producing, so Marcus Mariota get to take a back seat. So we'll see how that goes. Because of that, there's going to be a lot of turnover in the league, I believe, going on in this next offseason. Mariota's going to be in discussions. James Winston's going to be in discussions. Cam Newton's going to be in discussions. There's going to be a lot of guys looking for new spots, a lot of bigger names than usual. We're going to be looking for spots. So we're going to see how that all plays out. There's a few teams that are legitimately a quarterback away. And if you put the right guy there, if you put, I mentioned before, and like I mentioned, you put Cam in Chicago, as everybody's starting to mention now, that team is real dangerous. So we'll see if these teams can find their guy, and definitely excited for the rest of the season and the offseason as well. So
and like you mentioned last week, the Dolphins stumbled into another W this week too.
I told you they're blowing their spot. They're blowing that one spot. They got all them picks and to trade up still, of course. But if for locking in that one spot, that must keep on winning games. Like, no, as players, you want to prove your worth and try to fight and get dubs. But as a team, you got to know, hey, man, we're still a long ways away. We use the help. So think of Tua maybe out of the equation because the Bengals are damn near 0 whatever still. They didn't win the game. There's a few teams still at the bottom right now fighting for last place. So the Dolphins may have messed themselves up with their performance lately.
Yeah, and it might not be tanking for Tua anymore because Joe Burrow at LSU is looking real nice.
Man.
That was the first. This game against Alabama was the first game I actually watched him play. I was like, okay.
Yep. He got a little arm on him. Okay, I see you.
I was like, I understand the memes now. Like, Joe's real.
Joe's the truth. So really excited about that. Before I even deep dive that, I get so hurt watching LSU sometimes, bro.
Why?
Because Ed Orgeron should be USC's head coach.
Oh, okay.
He should have never left, bro. They should never let him go.
Hey, he's a good coach.
Ed Orgeron, his rusty ass voice. He should be in USC still.
WD-40 on them vocal cords.
Yeah, dear Lord, he had drink some tea or something. Damn, nigga, like I always just dry. Your voice is dry as hell all the time. Dear Lord.
Did you hear his post game speech that one of the players had on?
You can't be filming the coaches, man. They show their true colors in the locker room, man.
What is
Orgeron was
roll tide? Fuck you.
Roll tide. Fuck out of here. You can't be showing that. You're not supposed to know that.
Yeah.
Everybody else in Louisiana may feel that way, but you're not supposed to know that from the coach. So that was crazy, but that's legit how they feel. They had a great show this last week. Held off the Alabama, won. I think it was 46-41 was the final score.
Yeah, something like that, real close.
But it wasn't that close, to be honest. I mean, I know they came back in the second half, but it was like 33 to what was it,
20
or 20 or 16? It was something big.
At half,
something big at the end of the half, and then Tua got his legs under him a little bit and decided to storm back. But yeah, LSU held him off, and it was a great outing. So something that I thought about, and I want to know your take on this.
Okay.
Is Nick Saban the best coach of all time or the best recruiter? Because I think every year, if you put together an NFL roster damn near every year, of course you're going to beat a majority of the teams you play.
Yeah.
But when it came down to coaching, though he has won games at times, we've seen in recent years against Clemson, and then we see, like an example now this last week, there were times when coaching came into play, and it's like, yo, Saban, what are you doing?
That's true.
So he's kind of gotten away with it. Also, Alabama's schedules are weak at times. I think even after this game, they don't really play nobody that will get them back in the top 4 unless somebody loses. So it's just a thought, like, is Saban really who we think he is, or has he been blinding us because he puts together these rosters full of all the he always has the number one or two best recruiting classes in the nation.
That's a good question, because especially even in this game, and they were at home too, but guys looked rattled and were making like mental mistakes that you don't usually see from an Alabama team too often. And it's similar to like the question with the Patriots, like who deserves more of wow, I'm blanking on the word. More of the credit for the success, like Brady or Belichick. I mean, because at the end of the day, the players have to perform. But that's a good question about Saban. I mean, clearly is. I think you could give him the best recruiter title easy.
He did. And before we go on, I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I'm just saying he's not as good of a coach as he's not. If we're like saying like Belichick, I don't think he's Belichick in regards to schematics and things. But when you take the number 1 recruiting class every year and you're piling up all these first round draft picks, of course they're going to dominate a majority of the guys they go against. So they're going to look good no matter what play you call. When it's time to go against other, like this game they had, I think it was combined, they had like 15 potential first round picks on both sides, something like that. When you go against other guys with the same talent, then it's like, okay, now you have to coach. And we saw for a long while that he got out coached. So it was just a thought. So
but we'll see. If not him, I don't know who would be. Just because of the sustained success, and recruiting is a part of the game as far as being a coach in the NCAA. I mean, I know recently Clemson has been up there with Bama almost every year, so Dabo Swinney could get some credit, but Saban at LSU as well was a successful coach and then brought that success over to Alabama. So I think he's been probably the coach with the most sustained success. Like Alabama's been in there since I can't even remember when they weren't at this point. So, yeah.
I was just saying people now are very quick to say Saban is now the best coach of all time, whatever. And I get that. Because of what he's done. But at the same time, again, like I looked at who he has, and it's like, not saying of course, but like if you give somebody the best talent every damn year, they're gonna put numbers up one way or another. So that's gonna happen. We're all starting to see now the other teams are starting to rack up talent too. And when Saban faces that talent, it doesn't always go his way. So while he is a great recruiter and gets the talent, when it comes to the play calling, sometimes it can get a little shaky. So
is he like doing a lot of the play calling, like as offensive coordinator, almost pseudo offensive coordinator?
He plays a big role in everything that goes on for sure. I don't know if he's the official head play caller this year, but I know a lot of things go through him. Like he's not just on the sideline just posing. Like he's got a lot of shit. He's making sure it gets done. So
I mean, it's really hard to gauge coaching. I mean, different sport, but I was watching Inside the NBA, and Shaq was saying like, if you have a couple superstars on your team, like the coaching doesn't really matter as much because like the players are going to perform. They're going to get theirs kind of thing. And like we saw that with like the Golden State Warriors, like Steve Kerr didn't have to do a whole lot. Coaching 5 All-Stars to a championship. So it's really hard to gauge like how much of an impact the coach has on the product on the field. So that's tough. But when you have that sustained success, I think you kind of have to give them the nod at that point.
But you definitely gotta give him his credit. And Either way, he's top 5 no matter what. I was just debating if he was the undisputed number 1 still, because he had his moments. So that's all. That's right. Again, for all y'all watching, let us know what you think, and we'll keep that dialogue going. So yeah, we'll see how Alabama goes the rest of the season. Also, we're going to now flipping to LSU. The college football, the rankings came out last week, and LSU was number 2, I believe. Who was the ranking last week? Do you remember?
They had Ohio State at 1, I believe.
Yeah, they had Ohio State 1, LSU 2, Alabama 3, and then Penn State 4.
Yeah.
And based on how LSU has looked all year long, I thought LSU should have been 1 to begin with. I get that Ohio State has put up some good games, but
LSU had a blowout last week too.
But they really haven't been playing crazy talent either.
Right.
They had a game or two they might have beat somebody, but besides that, I think even with that, I mean, LSU has put together a better resume so far that they should have been and look like a true number 1 compared to Ohio State. So I would put LSU at 1, then Ohio State, then Bama, and then Penn State. So that was my thing then. I think it's confirmed now, and then I think the rankings should be coming out. If they're not out already, they should be out.
They're out.
It should be out. And LSU should be at 1. So, that was my thought from the beginning, and they made sure to prove that they're number 1 this week. So, looking forward to the rest of this college football season. USC, I can't remember who they played this week. I don't know. I've been just checking that. ASU, Keaton Solace put up like 300 yards in the first quarter, something like that. Yeah. ASU fought back at times, but I think USC held on. So, another solid week. That's all I got. I don't know.
I will shout out Minnesota because they're 9-0. Yeah, 9-0 for the first time since like 1904.
And they just beat somebody, right? They just beat Penn State. Yeah. So real big win. And they were saying they can make the biggest jump in college football playoff history, something like that.
Yeah, they're number 7 right now.
Number 7?
Yeah.
So they jumped from 17 to 7?
It says they moved up 6. So I guess they were 13.
They were 13? Oh, yeah. Okay. Somebody said they were 17. So they're saying going from 17 to 10 would be the biggest jump. Or if they're 13, then going to 6 is still a 7-point jump, but I don't know if that's the same historical thing. So whatever. Yeah. But either way, big jump for Minnesota, and they could be fighting for a spot now at 7 or 6 where they're at right now. So
they can. They're 9-0. If they win out, they
undefeated and have put together a good track record to be in the competition for real. So definitely a good squad. We're gonna keep an eye on all of that. We'll get into
Pac-12 team at 6, Oregon's
there. I'm glad we're getting to Pac-12 representation. I'm not a big fan of Oregon, honestly. They've always gotten on my nerves, but I'm glad. Not even because of that, just over the years, I've always thought Oregon was frauds. They'd get there and get beat by Auburn.
They got those clean Nike jerseys.
Not really. I don't really care for jerseys, so they can have a jersey if they want. But I thought playing wise, they're always in this discussion like this. And when they do, they'll play Alabama or Auburn or somebody and just get waxed. It's just like y'all ain't really as good as y'all think.
I don't know if it's just Oregon though. I think that's the difference in the conferences as well too. I feel like a lot of Pac-12 teams, if they're rated at Alabama or LSU, like would have a rude
but I've noticed it with Oregon. They've done it on big stages and it just got on my nerves. So never been a huge fan of them, but we'll see if they can get in the playoffs and prove me wrong. So looking forward to it this time of year. Another good time of the year. We're talking about baseball and that early on a couple months ago, how that was real great. Now we're getting to playoff time with football. All that's approaching, getting to the good stuff in the NBA. And definitely looking forward to all that stuff right now. Also, college basketball is starting. Get the Arizona basketball shit on. You have anything you want to talk about college basketball-wise before we get to the NBA?
Yeah, a few things. I can start with Arizona. They've been looking good to start. They got like a 40-point blowout against NAU. We always kill them in every sport, so that was regular.
But people are gassing Nico Mannion. You've been watching.
I watched the highlights from that second game. He was splashing. He had 23, 9 assists. Like he was looking good. I was like, okay. Like
the kid's got talent. The kid's got talent, definitely.
He does have some talent. It'll be nice to see once we get into some more stronger opponents. They played Illinois yesterday and got like a high 20-point win. Right. So that was good to see. and against another power conference. But they have a pretty easy home schedule right now. I think we have like San Jose State and New Mexico State and South Dakota State and Long Beach State coming up at home. So games they should win. But the recruiting class is looking really good with Nico Mannion and what was his
name? Jalen something, I think.
Jalen.
I forgot. Josh
Green. But there was another freshman. I forget his name right now, but
they got a good roster though. I hear you.
Yeah.
So are we watching this season? I remember last year we kind of tuned out. Are we actually watching this season?
I'm definitely watching this season for
sure. All right, I'll check back in then because last year was rough. Right. So very excited for Arizona. That's my back. I know we talked about USC with football, basketball, and just everything else. I'm Arizona. That's my school. So definitely tuned in for all of that, and definitely excited to make a real push again in college basketball. Definitely gonna be excited for March Madness. It's always a fun time of year. So definitely looking forward to all of that. Hopefully Arizona can make it a good push this year as we used to do, and can keep our eyes on it. So.
Yeah, got to get back to a Final Four. Sean Miller.
We need that, man. We got to get that done. So very excited for all of that. For all y'all that are tuning in, hit us up and let us know who your teams are and who you checking out. We'll talk about all the college basketball stuff going on, and definitely let us know. So that's it. That's what we really care about college basketball wise. But who's something we care about also basketball wise, NBA, the Lakers. If we recorded yesterday, and we would have been happy, 7-1. We would have been
happy.
That squad. But we waited till today for a couple of reasons, Drake and all this other stuff going on. And we waited, and the Lakers played, and they lost their first game in a while to the Raptors. Lost to Siakam and Chris Boucher and whoever the fuck they got now.
They got Fred VanVleet. They got
players. They got players, but it ain't
still a good team.
They ain't Kawhi no more though. So I'm saying there's a difference. But yeah, they ended our streak, and so we're now 7-2, still at the top. But yeah, our first loss in a while. So we think about our Lakers after a few weeks now and in the books.
I like how they've been playing so far, especially because there's been a lot of attention to detail on the defensive end. And that's credit to Frank Vogel. We've always known him to be a pretty solid defensive coach back to his Indiana Pacer days, taking those teams to the Eastern Conference Finals against LeBron's team. And LeBron was basically his only hurdle to making finals appearances, and now he has LeBron on his team. So it should be a nice marriage between those two. But especially, you want to say something?
I was gonna say also, you mentioned before about like coaching and things. When you have LeBron on the court, when you have AD on the court, when you have a guy like Dwight who is somewhat known for his defense, Avery Bradley is known for his defense, Danny Green can shut down guys. When you have 4 or 5 guys on the court that are known for their defense, or LeBron who can turn on at times if he cares to, you're gonna be a good defense. So Frank Vogel definitely is doing his job, and I'm glad that LeBron cares enough to contribute to that and make sure our defense look good as well. So that's what I wanted to add. So
LeBron definitely heard the noise in the summer. Some of that coming from us as well too, because we didn't like his defensive effort last year. I think he could say himself that he wasn't putting 100% effort on the defensive end. So it's nice to see that he's paying more attention to that end this year. But on that same note, it seems like as he's exerting more effort on that end, I mean, he's older. He's 34, I believe.
About to be 35.
Yeah, and he looked gassed in that game last night against Toronto. And people are saying there's been a lot of talk about load management.
Is it time to start managing the load? Is it time?
Pause. There's been a lot of talk about that. And it seems like LeBron might need a couple of those nights off. And I think load management, that term started with him last year, if I remember correctly.
No, that was Kawhi a few years ago.
Really? Okay.
That was the Spurs a few years ago, resting Tony Parker and all those guys. That was a while ago. They got popular a couple years with Kawhi and LeBron last year or something like that. It was the Spurs first.
Okay, so pop party. Okay.
Yeah.
I got you. But yeah, he might need to take a couple games off. But I'm nervous about that because Anthony Davis was talking about how he's been playing through shoulder soreness every game and how it nags him every game, but he's trying to play through it. And I'm like, we need to get wins because we're in the West, but we also need you down the stretch in the playoffs as well too. So I don't want him playing through injury. Like, it's okay to sit when you're hurt, but I don't like guys like sitting when they're healthy, but sitting when you're hurt, that's fine to rest up for that.
In the preseason, we had rankings. I had the Lakers low in the Western Conference because my thought is with LeBron and AD, just get in. So when the goal is just get in, you can rest guys during the season and prevent things like we are seeing now. Mm-hmm. So I thought load management was just something that we saw early on, and we have not done that yet. With talks going on like they have been recently, they're probably going to start it. So, I think that in situations like this, I mentioned before about what is real load management. I think this is a legit moment where you should say, okay, let's start monitoring AD. Let's sit him down for a little while longer. Maybe not hold him out for a game or two, just to keep him healthier, because our goal is not the regular season. LeBron and AD, just get in and we can beat anybody. So just get in and we'll worry about it later on. So because of that, LeBron sit down for a little while, AD sit down for a little while, and we'll figure it out. So, I think we should start load managing when guys show that they need rest. When Kawhi is sitting down, I think someone mentioned he has some kind of degenerative condition. So with him, he may have legit reasoning.
Something like that. Yeah.
Right. So for him, with legit reason, but for other guys that are just sitting just to sit, those guys should be penalized. But for someone who clearly is gassed and needs rest, and someone who has nagging injuries, he needs rest. So let them play. Or let them sit down. So
right.
I think that should start coming into play soon.
Yeah, and it could come into play more it'll make it easier to sit guys like a LeBron or AD if Kuzma is stepping up as well too, because Kuzma has looked out of rhythm coming into this season.
They trying to kill lethal shooter.
They called him lethal scammer.
Lethal scammer. God damn it, man. Nah, I like him too, bro. I can't hate on him. People online.
You can't blame the shooting coach. Come on. You can't blame the shooting coach for KCP doing bonehead stuff on the court. Like,
he did help KCP too, huh?
Yeah, he did.
Damn.
There's a couple others around the league that he helped out too, but the Lakers have been playing well, like you said, with the number one seed right now. It's been a while since you could say that. I think it was like 2010, 2011 since they had a 7-1 record. Yeah. Overall, I've definitely liked what I've seen from the Lakers so far.
Yeah, so that's the main thing. Lakers wise, hopefully Kuzma will start hitting his shots, stay in the gym with lethal shooter, and get that jumper right and get things rolling. Because when AD and LeBron are sitting down, we're gonna need Kuzma to step up and help us get some wins while they're rested. Yeah. So
it'll probably still take a few more games because he didn't have training camp either.
Right,
he was out with his injury to his ankle. So,
but
hopefully get back into his rhythm because we've seen what he can do offensively in the past.
However, while I will be fair and say we don't mention all the points we brought up in the past, something that you did bring up is how guys on that USA team had early on time to get things rolling, and Kuzma was one of them. And I guess
he had to drop out because of the injury, though.
The injury may have messed him up, but he has been playing for a little while and should have been able to come back in motion, but he hasn't been yet, and hopefully he can get back in rhythm soon. So,
wait, you mentioned that USA team.
Talk about it.
The Boston Celtics are looking pretty good, my friend.
They're okay.
They're looking pretty good.
Just early on.
It's early on, but they're the number one seed in their conference too. So the NBA is good when the Lakers and Celtics are good because that's that number one rivalry. You could almost say it's the number one rivalry in sports. I mean, you got Yankees, Red Sox, and I don't know what else you would put in that conversation, but Lakers Celtics is up there. Yeah. And Celtics are looking good. Hayward just injured his hand, so
strike one.
That could hurt
already starting. Injuries start hurting. Kemba's about to get somebody.
It's time for Jalen to prove that he deserves that contract, and so far he's been playing pretty well. So,
well, I mean, this is Hayward's first game out since the injury, so. Or two games out, so you can't say he's been showing out since.
Well, the game where Hayward went out, he had like 30 points and 8 rebounds, something like that. So I mean,
he's doing his job. He's cashing his checks. Sure.
I don't know if you saw Tatum tonight though. He was like 1 for 17 or some shit like that. So Tatum,
keep it going, Celtics.
Jason, he's only 20 years old. Tatum might not be who Celtics fans thought he was.
Don't give that excuse. Don't give that excuse now.
Oh no, I'm not giving an excuse.
Y'all gassed him up all before. Now
when did I gas up Jason Tatum? Hold on.
I'm saying people in general.
Okay,
Tatum because of the dunk on LeBron and all that stuff before. Don't say he's young now. Y'all were saying he was ready before. Don't do that.
Exactly. Yeah, no, they like to double back for sure. I mean, Brandon Ingram's like an MVP candidate right now with his numbers, and Tatum not so much. So yeah, the proof is in the pudding. But
figure it out, Boston.
I mean, right now they're figuring it out. Right now they're doing well, and the Nets are like what 8 seed, something like that.
As I said, it's early. It's early. I'm not even stressing. It's all good.
My predictions are looking pretty good right now. That's all I'm saying.
Both our predictions were kind of trash. I had the Kings in, you had the Pelicans in. So
oh no, I'm just talking about the Celtics Nets.
Oh, the 4-6 thing? Yeah. Whatever. It's early on. Like I said, it's early on. I'm not even stressed about that. So we'll see how that goes the rest of the year. And definitely excited for all things NBA. Any other guys you want to bring up right now that are producing? Any other things you want to shout out real quick? NBA wise? Oh shit! I haven't turned around in a while. Okay. I turned around and the Niners tied it up against the Seahawks.
Okay.
21-21, fourth quarter, 5 minutes left. So good game going on right now. I mentioned before this could be an MVP moment for Russ. Now with the game tied, a few minutes left in the game, he has a perfect chance to get an MVP moment. So we'll see if he is who we've been saying he is, or if he's been, or maybe Lamar's chance to jump ahead of him. So
we've seen Russell's resume. I think he is who he said he is.
No, I know that. I'm saying for this year and the MVP race.
Okay. Yeah.
This is a great MVP moment to have. If not, Lamar has a great chance to jump ahead of him. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So we'll see with these last 5 minutes of the game going on. If we're still on the whole way through, I'll keep updating this. But
NBA-wise, guys standing out. I can't think. I mean, I think we mentioned last week the Suns have been surprises in the West. I think they're like 6-2 right now. That's the Lakers matchup. So Lakers could be in for a rude awakening against this year's Phoenix Suns. They've been playing
even without DeAndre.
Yeah.
They're looking real good.
Monty Williams has those guys playing hard and
very happy about that. Very happy about that. Monty's about to get himself a Coach of the Year award, which is very deserving. He's putting a lot of work for a while now.
Warriors still on their tank, I believe. I believe they said Steph may not sit out the whole season now.
Yeah.
But they're really tanking. Although D'Lo's producing.
The latest mock has them going number 1 against James Wiseman from Memphis. Okay. Who, if they add him to that roster, 7-1 big that can kind of do it all. That'd be a crazy addition. So I like Willie Cauley-Stein. Obviously, they're tanking, so he ain't really doing what I thought he would. But he's a decent center. But if they get James Wiseman, that could be a big help to that squad. So we'll see. I mentioned about shout-outs on D'Angelo Russell. He even in the loss, he's been putting up numbers. So we can kind of give him credit. I'll be honest, even as a fan, he has to. I mean, he has no other help, so he's going to put up numbers one way or another. But they're not winning. Exactly. So he's doing what he has to do to boost that trade value for now, and we'll see how that plays that rest of the year. Besides that, someone else that I've noticed, I'm trying to think. The Grizzlies, John Morant, still looking pretty good. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been putting some good games up recently. Even in losses, the Knicks are looking pretty bad, but RJ Barrett is putting some good games together. And it's funny with the Knicks because reports came out, seeing people ranting today about the Knicks getting ready to fire Fizdale because of how they're playing. And see, they talked about like, how can you put the blame on Fizdale when Mills and them brought in 450 fucking power forwards on the roster and go and messed up the whole KD situation. They had KD in the bag and blew it because they messed up that whole how they handle DeAndre Jordan thing. So how are you gonna put the blame on Fizdale when it's really from the top down? So really looking bad over there. They're starting to turn against each other. Reports that they may be aiming at Masai Ujiri, who could in turn try to get Giannis when he becomes a free agent. But every team is rumored to be doing that, so this is not new. They said the same with the Lakers. No, they said the same Masai Ujiri, Giannis thing for damn near every team. So Nick saying that now doesn't change anything to me. So we'll see how they figure that thing out, and hopefully they can get somebody to turn it around. For a while, they considered the Mecca, but things have been looking real bad lately, and they're no longer. That title is getting changed from them. So, we shall see. But besides that, I can't really think of any other shout-outs right now. Just a couple of those names that I mentioned, those Grizzly boys, the Suns, and some of the Lakers guys that have been playing good. I'm finally happy to see Lakers putting up wins. So,
you mentioned James Wiseman. Just other guys in consideration for that number 1 pick are Cole Anthony out of UNC. Looked pretty good in his first 2 games there.
He put the Syracuse total.
34 in his first game.
Yeah, excuse me.
Yeah, that was impressive. And then LaMelo Ball overseas has been talked about as potentially being number 1 now too.
And he says he wants it. He says he's the guy.
Yeah.
Our interview came out. He said he thinks he's number 1. So he starts playing, continues to play like it, and he'll get it. So definitely looking forward to that. I think any one of those guys is great options. Cole is a great point guard.
Yeah.
LaMelo is a great point forward. Yeah, whatever you want to call him. And James Wiseman is crazy. He's a beast down low. So looking forward to all those guys when they get in the league, and looking forward to how they produce LaMelo overseas and those other 2 in the NCAA. So a lot of your stuff basketball-wise coming soon. Also, lastly, just thinking out loud now, the Heat got some good guys over there. I watched the Heat Laker game this weekend, and Kendrick Nunn over there, Duncan Robinson, I think, who's a rookie or a second-year guy. They have some good young guys who we haven't heard of that contributing a whole lot and are helping the Heat be a real good squad. So,
how do we miss that?
I forgot. I forgot.
The Miami Heat.
No, man, I forgot.
Waiting.
They had waiters tweaking, bro. God damn it. Reports over this weekend said Dion Waiters was not playing, took some edibles and lost it. Had a seizure on the plane and was messed up. Had to get rushed to the hospital and things when they landed it. And after that he got a 10-game suspension. So it's been a real rough start for him.
Very,
I continue to think out loud because this just came to my mind. We laughed about it just now, but I think more about it. There was also stories. I remember way early in the offseason, Dion Waiters posted about how he's been trying to turn things around for himself and how he's been in the gym and trying to lose weight. And he's been fighting through things and trying to get right. So what followed after that has been comedic for many because of how he's lost his spot to Kendrick Nunn and then now this and other things. But looking at now, thinking about all that's been going on in the recent months, it kind of sucks that he's going through this. I wish things turn around for him. It may not be in Miami because Kendrick Nunn, as I mentioned, is balling. He's averaging like 25 or some shit right now for the Heat. But if he get Dion Waiters to find a spot somewhere in the league, I'll be another chance because he's been fighting hard, and this first month of the season just has not been going his way at all. So rough situation right now, kind of playing situation, honestly. But even with that, I hope things turn around.
Stephen A. Smith said it best.
Stay off the weed, man. hey, bro. They said Kendrick hand slid to him like, "Hey, take this to help you out," trying to sabotage him, and Dion got messed up because
they said it had to be James Johnson.
They said James. They said Tyler Harrow slid to him. Then that whole squad, it could be anybody, honestly.
Hey, but Dion's real, bro. He didn't snitch. He didn't say who gave it.
He just said one of the players. So we never respected. Y'all respected no snitching. So unlike 6ix9ine, who's still supposed to be getting.
I forgot about him, honestly.
Contracts and shit. So that's gonna be 2020. We'll talk about that when it gets here. But he, unlike him, Dion didn't snitch, and he was tweaking, man. That sucks, man. That sucks. But hopefully things turn around for him because I am rooting for him, as I mentioned before, with all he's got going on, and definitely going to stay tuned with all things in the NBA. So another episode in the books. Another episode 46, Section.300. Find us everywhere you listen to podcasts, IG, Section.300, Twitter, Section.300 Pod. Subscribe to our page here, drop comments, rate, review, subscribe, share with your friends. Everybody know we're trying to keep this thing going, and we love to continue to bring more followers along with us. So great things going on here. A lot of great stuff going on in the sports world and the music world, and we're here to talk about it all. So the great episode in the books, a lot of good stuff, a lot of great stuff coming on here. We've got some guests on the way that we're sure you're going to enjoy. So episode 46, and anything else you want to add to that, Alec? We're gonna get out of here.
I was gonna shout out. Hold on, what was his name? I want to get it right. Player out of Kent State, Kalen Bennett. He was the first autistic kid to score in the D1 game. So that was pretty dope to see. And then also shout out to Andrew Jones from Texas. He was diagnosed with leukemia in January of 2018 and came back and scored like 20 in his first game this season for Texas. So that was dope to see.
Definitely. And on that same token, shout out and prayers to Cassius Winston from Michigan State. Lost his brother over this weekend. And yeah, it's just a real sad situation. So prayers out to him and the whole Michigan State family over there. Hate to see something like that going on, and definitely getting our thoughts and prayers. So that's definitely one of them. And also something you pointed out to me, shout out, and I just mentioned I was hating on them a while ago, but Oregon and their women's basketball team,
that's crazy.
They beat the women's USA team recently. So big accomplishment. I think that's the first time it's happened in
20 years.
Yeah. So big win for them. So I was just shitting on them a second ago, but forget that. And shout out to the Oregon and then the girls team over there, and major props for that accomplishment. So another great week in the books. Definitely looking forward to everything on the way. Again, find us everywhere and let us know what you think. I'm your host, G. Find me everywhere, G Thomas 7. Alec, tell me where to find you at.
Yeah, find me on Instagram at Alec Foster. Find me on Twitter at LakersFan24.
Yes, sir. And we are Section.300. So keep following us, and we got a lot of great things coming. So episode 46, Section.300. We up out of here, man. Peace.